Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Slay to Success talk show. My name is Rochelle, Slay Queen, Hemingway, CEO and founder of Slay to Success. And yes, y'all, I'm here just a few minutes behind 7 o'clock because StreamYard was trying not to let me be great. Okay, I don't know what's going on. The lighting, the way to log in, and everything was just something that I had to navigate through. But guess what? I am here with you all tonight. Hopefully, you are here as well. Please let me know where you're streaming in from. Give me your name, and so that I can give you a proper shout out because you decided to be here of all other places that you could be and be with me tonight, even a little bit later than planned. And so, as Slay to Success is helping to empower and motivate and even inspire, but yet and still give military and federal government that are transitioning out the confidence that they need to do the things that they want to do and most absolutely deserve. And so, my heart especially is with the women veterans because I served for 30 years in the Air Force. Huh? And so many of my clients that I have the privilege to walk beside and partner with are women veterans. And Slay to Success has many arms. I am a speaker, an author. I have two talk shows. I have this show and the Rise and Slay morning show on Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, moving out with all the things that's going on, I always start with the word slay. Slay means to kill it, to dominate it, and to nail it, to be on point, to impress greatly, and to dream big and work hard until you own it. It is also an acronym that stands for Universal Life and Leadership Philosophies that resonate with me, and hopefully they resonate with you too. And that is stay ready to be ready, lead out loud, a sense of community, and knowing you are built to last. So we have Chevy. Good evening, Queen. How are you doing? Thank you so much for tuning in on the LinkedIn side because we are live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. And tonight, y'all, guess what? You're in for a special treat because it's just me. It's just me. All right. And so as we walk into this conversation, because it's just a conversation. All right. I have been asked many a times about the topic that I want to talk to you all about. So I decided, hey, I don't have a guest that's scheduled for tonight. I'll just come on and share a little bit about my journey and, just have a little bit of tea. I'm going to spill a little bit of tea about this word that we hear so often, and that is confidence. So, and throughout all the things that I am so happy about, that I have opportunity over and over again to speak on stages, to deliver workshops and presentations. One of the things that people say, they say, you have so much confidence. You have so much confidence. And I'm like, yeah. Like, how does that happen? And I was like, well, it didn't happen overnight. I still struggle on certain things that I have to work at, and it's practice. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about the journey. Hey, Kenan, how you doing? Says we at the Navy, like the Air Force, can't stay long, but wanted to get a little some of this great energy. Of course. So glad that you could be here, part of the conversation for just a small period of time, whatever time you got. But yeah, that's the other thing that people always say. It's like, where does this energy come from? Well, it comes from confidence. And I know there is a gap, especially as you transition into anything. All right. So the transition I want to specifically talk to is my transition from military service to the civilian world to entrepreneurship, which was a hard pivot. All right. A lot of times that we, going through life and all the things that happen in life, and life is hard, because it will come with so many challenges. and we're navigating those challenges. And here yet again, I'm in a new season of my life. This is the next act, if you will. It's almost like the third act, because I had this time, this moments of growing up. I was the oldest of four children. I am the oldest of four children. And, I had low self-esteem. I was 200 pounds before I went into the military. That comes with a lot because kids are not nice, they're not kind. I was always also going to a predominantly white school. I was the only Black girl to graduate out of my high school class. So it came with so many, just for me, struggles. There were some pain points, um, being laughed at, and then I'm laughing with the kids that are picking on me because I just wanted to fit in and I just wanted to belong. And it wasn't until I lost weight that I really found, a way that I could start to communicate, to show up differently, and even to make the decision that I wanted to go into the military. And I decided, hey, I'll go into the Air Force. My girlfriend and I were doing this buddy program. She ended up going to the Army. I ended up going to the Air Force. So it really wasn't buddy at all. And finding ways to build my confidence through my military career to the point where I have it now. But the transition, I had to rebuild my confidence as well, because my identity was wrapped up in the uniform. It was wrapped up in structure and discipline and, having a community and a tribe of people that I grew up with, 3 decades in anything, but most importantly for my story, it was in a military setting. It comes with a lot that you have to figure out whether or not you're going to leave some of these habits and these routines behind, or are you going to pick a few of them and bring it into your transition. And the thing that separates a lot of people who transition well to those that struggle a lot is the word confidence. All right. And unless you have the keys, the right keys to unlock confidence, you will see yourself at a certain point where you're asking, where is the growth? Where is this new way of living that I so desire, but I just can't get there? Well, you're probably using the wrong keys. That's where I step in and help you to find the right keys, because I found the right keys to rebuild my confidence so that way I can show up bolder, more confidently in this next, especially in entrepreneurship. I never had an entrepreneurship background, never took any business courses prior to starting the business. I have been learning along the way. And one thing that I do know is I had seeds being planted and I had no idea. There were seeds that were being planted. So keys to success look different for everyone. However, for whatever opportunity that you are looking for, you have to have the right key. Some of us are not getting what we want because we have no keys. Okay. We have no keys. We don't have strategies. We have no plan. We don't, we may have an idea, but it is, not, fully written out or anything. It's just a thought. So some of us don't have access, right? Some of us have keys, but they're the wrong keys. They're the wrong keys to get you where you're at. So let me just give you some examples. All right. A lot of times we think, we see somebody else's success. So when I was retiring at 30 years, a lot of the younger airmen were coming up to me the last, 4 to 5 years of my career. And they said, how do we get to where you're at? What do I need to do to get to 30 years of service? And I couldn't like just point to one particular thing, because I was all over the place. I was moving from one job to the next job, one base to the next base, you know, and so it was a lot of adaptability, right? I had to flex and I had to really figure out like who was who, what was what, and how was I going to find success in whatever situation that I was in. So I would usually share with them, like, you got to find what works for you. What worked for me may not necessarily work for you. All right. So, and this is throughout anything that we do. I could easily follow someone in this business venture, if you will, but I know that a lot of times it's by trial and error, right? We're figuring it out and we're like, "Oh, that's working. Let's do more of that." And then we see, "Oh, that's not working. Let's do less of that or none of that." And go into a different direction. But each time that I have put one foot in front of the other and made a decision to do X, whatever that is, I am finding more confidence. So I had to rebuild my confidence in transition, like literally rebuild my confidence because I was scared, confused, somewhat angry, frustrated, a little bit sad about my whole journey in the military, and it just kind of stopped. And now what am I supposed to be doing? All right. So Chevy says, we do ask what's next. We do. And we should be asking what's next. Now, I'm more in the flow. I'm checking here on Facebook, y'all, if you're wondering what's going on here on this phone. Because I know I got Facebook up here, but Facebook don't want to let me be great as well. That's just the way it is. But that's okay. We will adapt and overcome. Hey, Leslie, how you doing, madam? I was just sharing the lighting is a little different. You know how StreamYard does. All right. They give you a package for so long, and then now they want you to upgrade. So now lighting is off. I didn't even have a camera, y'all, when I logged in. I was like, oh no, this is not going to be good. What's going on here? All right. But confidence is something that you have to build. It is a skill. It is not something that's just given to you and then you just run with it. Because there will be a lot of things that we have to face, that we have to figure out, like, how am I going to get through this? So I just want to talk to us a little bit about this gap. All right, the confidence gap. Now, I do have some notes, and because Facebook would not let me be great, now I got to go and find my notes here, y'all, real quick, so that way I can stay on track. Because if I get too far down a rabbit hole, we all gonna be sitting up in here going, what are we talking about tonight? What are we supposed to be doing? Hopefully you all are having an amazing week, and looking forward for Thanksgiving, because I know Thanksgiving is coming up for us, and you have plans, and you're just going to go out there and you're going to slay all the things, okay? Because that's what we do. That's what we are made of in these times. And so think of a time, y'all, when your confidence was low. Maybe you were overlooked or dismissed. Maybe someone said something to you that you just could not get over. Maybe, you tried something and it just didn't work. And so you just gave up. We all have an example of that. Something that has happened in our life where we said, oh, I'm not going to try that again. So many of my promotions, I had to work at it. I believe the ranks between uh, to make to make staff sergeant, which is probably like anywhere between 4 and 5 years of service, I ended up making it like 7 or 8 years of service. And while my peers were trucking along and, they are getting promoted, there I was still sitting at this rank of senior airman. And staff sergeant is where you start getting introduced, where you start supervising. Well, I guess they said, like, you are not ready to supervise. And, looking back at it, I wasn't mature enough. I was just thinking about myself. I wanted to party and do all the things and, just be free. If you could think of being in the military free, but to not have all the weighted responsibilities, right? But as I saw everyone get promoted, I was like, okay, like you need to step up your game. Well, every time it would come out and they would, notify people that they got promoted and my name was not being called or no one was calling me into an office or surprising me and say, oh my goodness, you made rank. It was like Passover, okay? And that's what they called it in the military. And my confidence was sinking big time because I'm thinking, I don't know what I'm doing. And I think I'm doing some work, but maybe it's not good enough. And then that started getting into my spirit that I'm not good enough, that I can't make it, that I cannot, have opportunity to become a non-commissioned officer, because that's what it's called, NCO. So I made staff sergeant after 7 or 8 years. So multiple tries of testing. And then, I finally made tech sergeant, which took a minute too. I think I stayed as a tech sergeant for, more years than I should have. Was able to make master sergeant. My husband and I actually made master sergeant together when we were in Japan. But then I didn't make rank. The next rank is senior master sergeant. 6 years. 6 years. And my confidence level at that point, especially the year before I made it, I remember having to tell other people that they made it and to actually organize a party, because they have these promotion parties for individuals that made it, and I didn't. And I I was so sad, y'all. I went home, I cried all the way home, cried when I got to the house, beating myself up for not, testing well. And my confidence level was just in the dumps. It was in the dumps. I left from one base, went to the next base, went and did a different job, and I ended up making promotion there. And so I was thinking, I'm not going to ever make the highest enlisted rank based on my history of making rank before. And I had to think about the reasons why I wanted to make rank and what was I going to do with that. I didn't want it just to be like, oh, okay, I made rank and now I'm good. So I had time to think about it. I didn't have senior master sergeant for very long. I think it was like maybe 2 years. Like I had it on for a year, tested, and ended up, making it the first time, and then putting on chief master sergeant. And my confidence level was high at that point because I was like, you know what? I did it. I finally made this rank. I'm going to do good with it. I'm going to kind of, like give it my all and be the best chief that can be in the Air Force, right? Well, situation happened like many, and I really even hate to say this, but sometimes as Black women, we experience a career or a job differently. And that's what happened for me. Instead of me being very excited about having the rank and being promoted, I went through 3 to 4 months of pain where I was rejected. I was not considered to be a chief. I was dismissed. I was told, even though you've made rank, you're not going to be able to do X, Y, and Z, which others were given the opportunity to. And my confidence level went down once again and questioned everything that I had done up to that point, every little thing. And, that situation resolved. So I had to rebuild my confidence level back up. And thank goodness, when I retired, I was at a very high level of confidence. I mean, I knew my job, I was doing it well. We were leading through the pandemic. I was able to, help people, even navigating through very complex situations, and balancing humanity at the same time. And so when you're at a very high level of confidence, a lot of things are for you in your mind are you're taking it in like, yeah, this is it. Like I feel good. People enjoy, the type of leadership that I am, you demonstrating or performing. So I thought that would just carry all into the transition. But soon as I retired and we moved out here to Maryland, it started to go down once again. Now, because I have been there several times throughout my life, I realized that I needed to do some strategy. I need to take on different strategies as I rebuild my confidence, my identity, my voice. I had to do it differently this time. And so, this gap that we all experience at some point in our life, and unfortunately, a lot of us deal with it when we get older and in transition from a major career, because everyone else is either starting out and we may feel like we're being left behind. We may feel we don't have enough in our tank to really do and pursue what we really want. And this identity that we have, we somehow, some way get lost and having to rediscover ourselves. So I had to learn. So here's one of the keys, okay, to confidence that I want to share with you is I had to learn to have gratitude in the journey. I had to learn gratitude in the journey. And the mean is, thank God that I have all my body parts. I mean, we're just being real about it, okay? Thank God that I still have my mind. Thank God that I have a family. Thank God that I have support and resources. I have all these things to be grateful for. And when you have gratitude, that increases your confidence level because you're like, I could have been this. I could have turned out like this. but I didn't. And that gives me more confidence to show up because I've been through some things, but I don't look like what I've been through. Okay, that is a key to success. Good evening, Ernestine. How you doing tonight? So glad that you could be with us tonight. I see you on Facebook. So thank you so much, Queen. You know, we have to stop and think about this. So also, one of the keys to confidence is work. Okay. Now, I put in work for what I want to do in this next chapter. Many times we are waiting. We are waiting for somebody's to come and take us out of our misery and bring us out of our depression and bring us out of our anxiety and bring us out of our stress when we don't realize that we need to put in the work. All right. And so when I talk about the work, the key for me is number one, I am moving my body. That gets me into action. So when people ask me, like, how are you able to do all these things? You got all the energy to do da 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 da. I'm telling you, exercising not only exercises your body, but this mind, which is the strongest muscle in our body, because it's the most powerful one. It could tell your body to move or not to move. Tells your body, tells everything, either you're being active in the moment or not. Once we have that in us, that's when we start to take action, because I see a lot of people, or I hear a lot of people saying, I want to do X. And I'm like, well, what is the work that you're putting in it? Because I'm telling you, I'm working. That first piece for the key to my confidence is moving my body. All right. Because that's an action. All right. And that carries on throughout the day. And I track everything, y'all. I track how many steps I got, how many miles I'm, running if I'm running, how many miles I'm on a spin bike. It all plays a part in how I show up, because I want to be strong. I want to feel strong. I want to feel powerful in my own skin. And for me, that is the key to success and confidence for me. Now, my key might not work, okay, for yours. So you have to find what that is. And once you find it, you got to work it. The other thing that I put in work is I put in work of building my brand. And when you are building your brand, it needs to be nurtured, it needs to be protected, and it needs to be managed. All right. So there are a lot of things that I am doing to build the brand. But what I knew is I couldn't have the same brand that I had in the military for what I am doing right now. So things had to be adjusted and worked out. So who we got here? Hey, Misha. Okay. She says, hey, Queen, I wanted to support. Thank you so much, Queen, for being live with us tonight. I took 5 years from 2010 to 2015 to plan for me to quit my last day job. I started my business at age 52. That was 7 years ago already. It is a growth mindset move. I redefine, rebuild, and restore. And this is what we're talking about. And Misha, I just want to know, what is your confidence level? All right? Because, I'm thinking it's pretty high when you know what you are not only capable of doing, but you're actually doing the work. And the keys that you have found to be able to quit the job and then be able to sustain a business for 7 years. All right. So that is what I'm speaking to, because a lot of times people want to have confidence, high confidence, without putting in the work. All right. And this is work. So you're either doing, and I do a bit of both. All right. Inner work and outer work. Confidence, also the key for my confidence is wearing clothes that match my personality. All right. My personality in the military, I was bubbly, I had energy, but it was subdued. Okay. I had to be in camouflage. I couldn't express myself the way that I'm expressing myself right now. But it's most fitting because people remember, they remember me. And so when I help my clients to find out what's their key from the outerwear, once the inner person, okay, because the inner person has to be whole. All right. Now, I'm not a psychologist or a therapist or, have a mental health degree of any sorts. So I don't do like the deep, 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 deep work, but I do want to know, who are you? And is that the woman or man that you are expressing to the world? Because many times when you are out of alignment, it's not showing up right. It doesn't match. And that's what's not, this confidence is a multifaceted will. There's a lot of factors that play into it. So, energy is the next one. My energy is off the charts because I have found the key to confidence that fits for me to make sure that my energy level is at its highest when I am interacting with others, when I'm here on the show, when I am, at the basketball game rooting for AJ. It's a different type of energy because people are just like, well, how does that happen? I'm like, well, again, wellness is the 8 dimensions. And, I've talked about that. How are all those being integrated into your life? That's one aspect. But then we got to get down to the nitty gritty of what is it that you do that helps you to show up with the confidence that you are looking for. Because I can, again dress you up, do some of this deeper work. But if you're not putting in the work that you need, you will not find it. You will not find the success that you are looking for. You will not find that confidence level. So this is where this gap happens because we are trying to do new things with old techniques and old strategies. All right. And everybody says, I want to show up differently. I want to do something else. And then I say, okay, well, what are you doing? How's that working? And it's like, there's nothing happening. I said, well, because what you may have learned needs to be either tweaked or adjusted in a certain way where you find your footing. So hopefully this is all making sense to you and really figuring out there is going to be a gap during any major transition. It's how long do you want to be in the gap? All right. I decided I did not want to be in this space where I was just wandering around in this world and not showing up with the light that I have. I knew I did not want to wait too long because, again, I'm not a young person, okay? I'm not a young person. So I don't have all this extra time on my hands to go party and hang out. And, I've done that. And those days were great. I'm not going to say they weren't great. They were great. All right. But there's a season for everything. Misha says, it had to do some mind shift. I had to do some mindset shifts and change. I started out as a level 5. I'm now at a level 7 with myself. What I do is continue to pivot both personally and professionally inside of my mindset and actions. I stay open to growth at all times and I never get too complacent. Yes, and I think that's another, thank you for sharing that, Misha, because I think that is yet another factor that's being played in is when we get too comfortable. All right, because I was comfortable in an uncomfortable, if you can imagine that, being comfortable in an uncomfortable environment, meaning I knew that, there was a lot of angst around the missions that I have been a part of. And, at any point it could just go hard left and really bad. However, I understood how to navigate in that space. So when I transitioned out, I had to relearn how to navigate in a world that I was not living in for 3 decades. And things changed. The whole world in itself changed. All right. I wasn't confident using the ATM machine at the Walmart when my mom and I went to go shopping, and I just came back from Japan. And she said, "Yeah, just use your debit card in this, little pay-in, like how we pay now." And I was like, can we do that? I've never seen this before. And I was scared. I was like, you need to teach me. And my confidence level was very low about just that. That we're just using small examples, but I'm just, I'm grateful that I'm still open as well. And, a lot of times we need to get out of our comfort zones. We need to find ways to explore into spaces that we've never been in. And that's what I have been continuously doing over the past 4 years, is really finding out what I don't know. And every time I go into a space that I don't know, I get yet even more comfortable being uncomfortable once again, because I'm finding new ways. And, building your confidence level, it takes practice. It takes practice. It's a skill. It needs to be practiced over and over and over and over again. I remember the very first time that I actually went live. I was sweating. I was so nervous. I was stumbling. I was a mess, y'all. I don't even know what I was talking about. I got to go back into my catalog of videos and find the very first one. And, I could have easily given up, easily, and said, this is not for me. It's too hard. It's too much. It's too, um, you know, uh, too visible. People are going to come after me, right? I'm putting myself out there. And after a while, I realized that speaking is who I am. It's just part of what I do. And so I started to get comfortable with that idea and this confidence that was going down a little bit after I retired. I had to find, and this was one of the things that helped me to rebuild my confidence level, rebuild, my image, actually find out what I actually like, and how do I, like, move. And so, y'all, I am just in this journey and I am waiting. But while I'm waiting for whatever is next, I'm working. I'm working. I'm working at what's going on up in here, what's happening to this whole entire body, all right? And doing things to see, how I can move through it. And when I'm ready, when it is time, y'all know what's going to happen, okay? Slay Nation up in here. This Slay Nation is going to be one big fireball. All right. And it's going to just burst out in flames. And I'm just going to be like, oh, okay. But it takes time. It really takes time. So we all going to experience a confidence gap in our life. It's in this gap that we need to figure out what we're going to do. And for me, when I'm helping my clients that I have the honor to partner with, we are rebuilding, okay, and reclaiming, because power, personal power, I'm not talking about power and authority from having a position or rank. I'm talking about personal power can allow you to see and dream and do things that you have never even thought were possible to do. Yes, you're going to have to work, okay? But after you are putting in the work, you will see the many things that can come up. And y'all, I'll just share this one last thing and then I'll let y'all go. Okay. And if you got to go, I understand, because sometimes I get long-winded up in here. I had to pinch myself on Thursday. I had to pinch myself. Thursday, I had an opportunity to go to the Dwight D. Eisenhower building that's located in the White House campus. It's right behind well, you see the right in front of or right behind. It just depends on where you're looking from, what street side you're looking from. And one of my colleagues that I work in South Dakota, they were having a wellness event and they were asking, who do you think would be a great fit for this? And she told them me, like, oh my goodness, I have a person. So she texted me and she said, Chief. She still calls me Chief. I know there's a lot of people who still call me that, and that's fine. I prefer Rochelle, but okay. And she says, they're having this wellness event. Would you mind coming in and speaking about some of the things that you have learned during transition or things that you talk about in your presentations? And I said, sure, like, let's get on a call. So we got on a call. They were asking me some questions. I customized the presentation for them because, again, the audience were all military. They either civilians that have been in the uniform and now are working as a civilian, or they were active duty in uniform. There was guard, there was reserve, from all the different branches of military. So being able to be in that building and giving that presentation, it was one of those moments where I felt comfortable being uncomfortable. And I said, I can't believe that I'm in a building where I thought it was too big for me. Okay. That's what I thought. I'm in a building that is too big for me. And there's no way I should be here. Like, that was in my head. And as I was giving my presentation, those voices started to turn down. And I said, you know what, Queen? Because, we got to talk to her. So I was like that sometimes. You're supposed to be here. This was already designed for you. You needed to put in the work, all right, before you got to this point. And when I was there, I felt like at a 10, y'all, a 10 out of 10, because I knew what I was talking about. I was standing firm in what I was saying. I was relatable to the audience, and I was allowing them to see a future that they may not have even been thinking about, because they are got their heads down and they're focused on the mission and they're serving our country. And sometimes somebody who is speaking from a different way, in their own unique way, and I'm one of one. I already know when I kind of think in my head, I'm one of one. It allowed me to see the things that I had been doing for the past 4 years and really over my whole life, really. I mean, like the whole life flashed in front of me, right? And I was like, okay, yeah, you're like, you were meant to be here. And now my confidence level is high. So I'm going to ride this for a minute. And whatever keys that was working for me to get in that building, I'm going to continue to use because I have no idea where I'm going. I have no idea. And I got asked on a podcast interview on Friday that I did. And they asked me what my plan, my future was for Slay to Success in the next 6 to 12 months. And I said, I don't have one. I don't have one. I don't have anything written out where it's like, okay, my goals for the month of December is X, Y, and Z. For me, it's about the freedom, the peace, and the joy that I'm experiencing right now. And to dwell in that and not get so lost and caught up in, I don't have this, I'm not getting that, I should be doing this. And believe me, I have been in this circle of talking to myself and maybe even talking out loud about these things and saying, you know what, you should be making this much, you should be doing this much, you should be at this level, right? You should already been taken off, right? And sometimes I'll go in, you started too late. And then I have to pull myself back, walk it on back and go, no, you're right where you're supposed to be. And to think about where this confidence level has taken you from the ups to downs and in betweens, right? You're an action woman. Oh yeah, I'm going to take action. Now, what that action looks like, Queen, I don't know. I know that I need to do something. So I make a decision and I just roll out. I'm like, okay, so whatever happens is a lesson learned. Either it's going to be, something that moves, a needle a little bit, or it's like, no, like let's regroup and think about that again. And Leslie says, thank you for taking us through your journey and the transparency. Absolutely. And that is part of my brand. And I realize that too, like the stories that I share, especially from the first book that I wrote about me, which is this one here, since I have it here, was the very first time that I started to be a little bit transparent about my life. Okay. And when I'm being asked on panels about certain case, like scenarios that happen and, kind of sharing some of my painful moments, I know it's not for me anymore. I was able to come out on the other side. And now I'm sharing and being as open and honest as I possibly can so that it helps someone else, because hearing anyone's story about the true details of the story really allows somebody to be free and not to beat themselves up as many times as I was doing while in service, because I felt like I needed to be perfect on everything. Like everything had to have I's dotted, T's crossed before I would send it off. And, now I kind of go, if I don't get the dub right, or if I miss a word when I'm, like typing something out, I don't make it to be such a big deal anymore. So I know that I'm evolving. That's allowing me to see a different version of myself that I want others to see too, and not to be so closed-minded. So Misha says, you are 100% God knows. Jeremiah 29:11. And that, Queen, is the verse that I live by. Again, we all have our walk, we all have our purpose, we all have our calling, and they've already been ordered. They've already been ordered. So for me in this time, I am just, an opportunity comes, I look at it, I evaluate, and I say, there's nothing that's going to harm me or put me in a crazy position. Then the answer 9 out of 10 times is yes, because God knows my heart. All right, I know that what I'm doing is being very true to myself and the values that I have, and not having people sway me to think any other differently. So I know when things come my way that there is a reason. There is a reason. And so I just need to be fully prepared and be able to take it in and manage it however that looks like. But I'm building my confidence every single day. So that's what I help my clients to do in the Brand Boldly program, which is the QR scan code at the top left screen as you're looking, where it is about reclaiming. And it is, the words that you use, Misha, are similar to the words that I use, but we're looking at your identity. We're looking at, how you present yourself. We're looking at how you know, take on this newer version of yourself. And everything starts with you. This is not my blueprint. I do have a structure or framework that I use, but you take what you need, and then those things start to create this ripple effect for yourself where you can find momentum and traction to rebuild yourself, because sometimes we just need someone to say, you can do it. Okay. And I got you. All right. So this has been the Slay to Success Talk Show. I will not be here on Tuesday because I'm flying out, y'all. So Mama gets to see us yet again, taking Dominique and AJ. We're all going together. So I hope that you all have an amazing holiday. I know sometimes it could be a little hard based on, however this holiday is to you and what it means to you. So I pray that you all are well and that you're able to enjoy as best as you possibly can. And then um, I will be back on the Rise and Slay show the following Tuesday, and then be back for the Slay to Success on the following Sunday. So until then, y'all, keep on slaying until you can't slay no more. And thank you, Chevy, Misha, and Leslie, and even Ernestine. Hey, Ernestine, and Dominique, my husband, was watching too. So thank you all for stopping in and listening to me just for a little bit. And we will see you all very, very soon. Love y'all. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.